Decline.
Decline.
There has been a decline in the size of families.
The decline of manufacturing. A rapid decline in unemployment.
The island's population initially numbered 180, but there was a gradual decline until only 40 people were left. The island's population initially numbered 180, but there was a gradual decline until only 40 people were left.
The economic decline faced by many cities.
The widely held belief that educational standards are in decline.
The port fell into decline in the 1950s. The port fell into decline in the 1950s.
Spending on information technology has declined.
Car sales have declined by a quarter.
After the war, the city declined in importance.
Offered the position of chairman, Smith declined, preferring to keep his current job.
Mary declined a hot drink and went to her room.
Mary declined Jay's invitation to dinner.
The court declined to review her case.
The minister declined to comment about the progress of the peace talks.
Her health has been declining progressively for several months.
Qualified staff are leaving and standards are declining. Qualified staff are leaving and standards are declining.
Declining attendance at baseball games.
Declutter.
Declutter. I decided it was time to declutter my bedroom.
Decode.
Decode.
The software decodes the information embedded in the satellite broadcasts.
Decoding boxes for your TV set.
Decoder.
Decoder.
Décolletage.
Décolletage.
Decolonize.
Decolonize.
Decommission. Decommission.
Decompose.
Decompose.
A partially decomposed body.
Decompress.
Decompress.
Most Macintosh computers can decompress files automatically.
Decompression chamber.
Decompression chamber.
Decompression sickness.
Decompression sickness. Decongestant.
Decongestant.
Deconstruction.
Deconstruction. Decontaminate.
Decontaminate.
It may cost over $5 million to decontaminate the whole site.
Decor.
Decor.
The decor is a mix of antique and modern. Decorate.
Decorate.
The bathroom is decorated in green and yellow.
We plan to spend the weekend decorating.
Children's pictures decorated the walls of the classroom.
An old-fashioned dress decorated with ribbons and lace.
Soldiers decorated for bravery.
Decoration.
Decoration.
Christmas decorations.
Cake decorations.
He is an expert on Islamic decoration.
A box with paper flowers glued to it for decoration.
Decorative.
Decorative.
A decorative panel above the door.
Decorator.
Decorator. Decorous.
Decorous.
A servant was hovering decorously behind them.
Decorum.
Decorum.
He was disciplined for breaching the Senate's rules of decorum.
Decoy.
Decoy.
Officer Langley acted as a decoy to catch the rapist.
Decrease.
Decrease.
The number of people who have the disease has decreased significantly in recent years. They want to decrease their reliance on oil.
Average house prices decreased by 13% last year. By 1881, the population of Ireland had decreased to 5.2 million.
The North's share of the world's energy consumption is expected to decrease from 70% to 60%.
Attacks of asthma decrease in frequency through early adult life.
Teachers reported decreases in drug use and verbal abuse of teachers.
There has been a decrease of 1 degree in average temperature.
Decree.
Decree.
The emperor issued the decree repealing martial law.
The king decreed that there should be an end to the fighting.
Decree absolute.
Decree absolute.
Decree nisi.
Decree nisi.
Decrepit.
Decrepit.
The buildings were in a decrepit state.
He was a rather decrepit old man.
Decriminalize.
Decriminalize. A campaign to decriminalize cannabis. A campaign to decriminalize cannabis.
Decry.
Decry.
Decrypt.
Decrypt.
Only certain employees will be able to decrypt sensitive documents.
Dedicate.
Dedicate.
The actress now dedicates herself to children's charity work.
The book was dedicated to her husband.
The company dedicated $50,000 for the study.
Dedication.
Dedication.
To reach a high level of skill requires talent, dedication, and a lot of hard work. I admire his dedication to the job.
Dedicated.
Dedicated.
A dedicated and thoughtful teacher.
She is a dedicated socialist.
The Woodland Trust is dedicated to preserving our native woodland.
A dedicated graphics processor.
Deduce.
Deduce.
From her son's age, I deduced that her husband must be at least 60.
What did Darwin deduce from the presence of these species?
Deduct.
Deduct.
The payments will be deducted from your salary.
Interest charges are tax deductible.
Deduction.
Deduction.
Children will soon make deductions about the meaning of a word.
After deductions for tax, etc., your salary is about £700 a month.
Deductive.
Deductive.
Deductive reasoning.
Deed.
Deed.
After the morning's good deeds, he deserved a rest.
She tried to strangle her baby, and her lover helped her finish the evil deed.
A mortgage deed.
Everyone sins at some time, in thought, if not in deed. Everyone sins at some time, in thought, if not in deed.
DJ. DJ.
Deem.
Deem.
They deemed that he was no longer capable of managing the business.
They were told to take whatever action they deemed necessary. They were told to take whatever action they deemed necessary. They were deemed to be illegal immigrants.
UK plans were deemed to infringe EU law.
Deep. Deep.
The castle is on an island surrounded by a deep lake.
The swimming pool has a deep end and a shallow end for kids.
We'll take the boat out into deep water where we can dive.
A deep, narrow valley.
Dig a hole around 12 inches deep. In places, the snow was waist deep.
A deep wound.
She was sitting in a deep leather chair.
Despite the peace process, there are deep divisions in the community.
The country is in a deep recession.
Evan will be in deep trouble if he is caught.
She stopped and took a deep breath.
Tom gave a deep sigh of relief.
May I express my deepest sympathy?
The letters show her deep affection for him. He has a deep understanding of the environment.
Her laugh was deep and loud.
I love that deep bass line.
She gazed at him with wide, deep blue eyes. She gazed at him with wide, deep blue eyes. The berries are a deep red colour.
These problems are too deep for me.
There is a deep issue of principle involved.
He lay down and fell into a deep sleep.
What he said made a deep impression on me.
Henry has always been a deep one. He keeps his views to himself.
The company is in deep water over their refusal to reduce prices.
She decided to jump in at the deep end, buy a farm, and teach herself.
Some bones were hidden deep beneath the ground.
The tunnel led deep under the mountains. We were deep in a tropical rainforest.
Tom stared deep into her eyes.
They talked deep into the night.
He knew deep down that he would have to apologize. Deep down, she is a caring person.
People were standing 4 deep at the bar.
The prejudice runs deep, and we need to understand the fears behind it.
Deep clean.
Deep clean.
Deepen.
Deepen.
The recession continues to deepen.
A deepening international crisis.
Jean liked Simon as a friend, but she did not want the relationship to deepen.
The idea only deepened his gloom. The mystery deepened.
Students explore new ideas as they deepen their understanding of the subject. Students explore new ideas as they deepen their understanding of the subject.
Her worried frown deepened. The river deepens beyond the town.
The harbour was deepened to take bigger boats.
The twilight deepened.
His voice deepened as he relaxed.
Deep freeze.
Deep freeze.
Deep fry.
Deep fry.
Deeply.
Deeply.
Her lies hurt my father deeply. She is deeply upset. He loves her deeply.
Teachers are deeply divided on this issue.
Deeply held religious beliefs.
Most doctors think deeply about what their patients want. John kept sinking more deeply into the mud.
Deep-rooted.
Deep-rooted.
A deep-rooted suspicion of lawyers.
Deep sea. Deep sea.
Deep-seated.
Deep-seated.
A deep-seated fear of failure.
Deep-set.
Deep-set.
Deep-six.
Deep-six.
Deep vein thrombosis.
Deep vein thrombosis.
Deep web.
Deep web.
Deer.
Deer.
Deerstalker.
Deerstalker.
Deface.
Deface.
Most of the monuments had been broken or defaced.
De facto.
De facto.
A de facto state of war.
Defamation.
Defamation. He sued the newspaper for defamation of character. Defame.
Defame.
Default.
Default.
The company's in default on its loan agreement. The company's in default on its loan agreement.
The bank can seize the asset in the event of a default in payment. The bank can seize the asset in the event of a default in payment.
The risk of default by borrowers.
You can change the default settings to suit your needs.
This way of working seems to be the default these days. In default of any other instructions, they decided to use the same system as before.
He defaulted on his child support payments.
Defeat.
Defeat. The Socialist Party suffered a crushing defeat in the elections.
She was a woman who hated to admit defeat.
The defeat of the army was followed by the establishment of constitutional government.
They hoped to defeat the enemy at sea. They hoped to defeat the enemy at sea.
We were defeated by 3-2.
It was the last question on the paper that defeated me. Don't let your arms relax, as that would defeat the object of the exercise.
Defeated.
Defeated.
He looked lost and defeated.
Defeatist.
Defeatist.
A defeatist attitude.
Defecate.
Defecate.
Defect.
Defect.
All the cars are tested for defects before they leave the factory.
A genetic defect.
A Russian actor who defected to the West.
Defective.
Defective.
The disease is caused by a defective gene.
Defective products.
Defence.
Defence.
In Britain, the defence of the country has historically been left to the Navy.
A firm commitment to the defense of human rights.
The first line of defense is a smoke detector. The area's flood defenses need repair. The area's flood defenses need repair. The immune system is the body's defense against infection.
Calls for a national debate on defense.
The Defense Department.
The invading army easily overcame the town's defenses.
Jean wrote a letter to the paper in Angela's defense. Jean wrote a letter to the paper in Angela's defense.
A philosophical defense of nationalism.
Evelyn Waugh came to Wilson's defense and acknowledged the brilliance of the book's themes.
Major has a good defense and believes he will win the case. A defense lawyer.
The defense called only one witness.
Liz dropped her defenses and began to relax.
Defenseless. Defenseless.
A defenseless old lady.
Defence mechanism.
Defense mechanism.
Defend.
Defend.
A struggle to defend our homeland.
The need to defend democracy against fascism. Advice on how women can defend themselves from sex attackers.
We need to defend against military aggression.
She was always defending her husband in front of their daughter. Students should be ready to explain and defend their views. He defended his wife against rumours and allegations.
Cooper wrote to the Journal immediately defending himself.
The workers' attempts to defend their interests.
We are defending the right to demonstrate. Bournemouth defended well throughout the game.
The world champion was defending his title.
The defending champion.
He is defending a Labour majority of 5,000.
He had top lawyers to defend him.
Howard, defending, said Thompson had been drinking heavily. Howard, defending, said Thompson had been drinking heavily.
Defendant.
Defendant.
We find the defendant not guilty.
Defender.
Defender.
It's his 4th season as an Arsenal defender.
He presented himself as a defender of democracy.
Defense.
Defense. Defense.
Defensible.
Defensible.
A morally defensible prison system.
Defensive.
Defensive.
The prince drew up his forces in a strong defensive position.
The rockets are a purely defensive measure against nuclear attack.
She despised herself for sounding so defensive.
A reserved and defensive manner.
Defensive play.
In his presence, she was constantly on the defensive.
An issue that put the White House on the defensive.
Defer.
Defer.
Further discussion on the proposal will be deferred until April.
The committee deferred their decision.
I will defer to your wishes.
Deference.
Deference.
Lewis was annoyed that Adam did not show enough respect and deference to him. Lewis was annoyed that Adam did not show enough respect and deference to him. Lewis was annoyed that Adam did not show enough respect and deference to him.
They were married in church out of deference to their parents' wishes. Deferential treatment.
Defo.
Defo.
Defiance.
Defiance.
Running away was an act of defiance against his parents.
Many people were drinking in the streets in flagrant defiance of the ban.
Her fists clenched in defiance.
Defiant.
Defiant.
Mark smashed a fist on the desk in a defiant gesture.
Defibrillator.
Defibrillator.
Deficiency.
Deficiency.
A deficiency of safe play areas for children. A deficiency of safe play areas for children.
Some elderly people suffer from iron deficiency in their diet.
There are deep deficiencies in this law.
Deficient.
Deficient.
Women who are dieting can become iron deficient.
Patients who were deficient in vitamin C.
Our prisons are our most deficient social service.
Deficit.
Deficit.
The country's widening budget deficit.
The U.S.'s foreign trade deficit.
A deficit of £2.5 million.
Many countries have a big deficit in food supply.
The U.S. balance of payments was in deficit.
Defile.
Defile.
Hallam's tomb had been defiled and looted.
Define.
Define.
The ability to define clients' needs.
The duties of the post are difficult to define. The duties of the post are difficult to define.
The tasks will be clearly defined by the tutor.
70% of the workers can be defined as low paid. 70% of the workers can be defined as low paid. I'll now try to define the term popular culture.
A budget is defined as a plan of action expressed in money terms.
Define precisely what you mean by crime. The bird has sharply defined black and rust markings. Definite.
Definite.
It's impossible for me to give you a definite answer.
We need to record sufficient data to enable definite conclusions to be reached.
He'd shown definite signs of resigning himself to the situation.
Fix a definite date for the delivery of your computer. Fix a definite date for the delivery of your computer.
She's not definite about retiring from the game.
Definite article.
Definite article.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Do you reckon Margot will be there? Definitely not.
The hotel fitness centre is definitely worth a visit.
I definitely need a holiday.
Definition.
Definition.
A dictionary definition.
There are many definitions of the word feminism.
The definition of God as infinite.
People say that students are by definition idealistic and impatient. Technologies such as high-definition television. Technologies such as high-definition television.
Good muscle definition.
Definitive.
Definitive.
The definitive study of Victorian railway stations.
A definitive agreement to buy the company.
Deflate.
Deflate.
She was deflated when Fenn made no comment on her achievement. Simkin hoped to find a way to deflate his opponent's argument.
Deflation.
Deflation.
The government's deflationary policies.
Deflect.
Deflect.
He deflected the blow with his forearm. His attempts to deflect attention away from his private life.
The committee is seeking to deflect criticism by blaming me.
Nothing can deflect me from reaching my goal.
Deflection.
Deflection.
The deflection of the missile away from its target.
Deflower.
Deflower.
Defog.
Defog. Defoliant.
Defoliant.
Defoliate.
Defoliate.
Deforestation.
Deforestation.
The deforestation of the tropics.
Deform.
Deform.
Wearing badly fitting shoes can deform your feet.
Deformation.
Deformation.
Deformed.
Deformed.
Deformed toe.
Deformity.
Deformity.
A hip deformity.
Defra.
Defra.
Defragment. Defragment. It should start working faster after we defrag your disk. It should start working faster after we defrag your disk.
Defraud.
Defraud.
She defrauded her employers of thousands of pounds. He faces charges of theft and conspiracy to defraud.
Defray.
Defray.
The proceeds from the competition helped to defray the expenses of the evening. The proceeds from the competition helped to defray the expenses of the evening.
Defriend. Defriend. I was really hurt when she defriended me.
Defrock.
Defrock.
Defrost.
Defrost.
Deft.
Deft.
He sketched her with quick, deft strokes.
Deft footwork.
His deft chairmanship of the company.
Defunct.
Defunct.
The now defunct nuclear reactor.
Diffuse.
Defuse.
Beth's quiet voice helped to diffuse the situation. The agreement was regarded as a means of diffusing ethnic tensions.
Defy.
Defy.
People who openly defy the law.
The beauty of the scene defies description.
A 16-week premature baby who defied the odds and survived.
I defy anyone to prove otherwise.
Degenerate.
Degenerate.
The conference degenerated into a complete fiasco.
The painting was condemned as degenerate. Degenerative.
Degenerative.
Degradation.
Degradation.
A life of poverty and degradation.
Degrade.
Degrade.
A movie that degrades women. How can you degrade yourself by writing such trash?
The dolphin's habitat is being rapidly degraded.
Degrading.
Degrading.
Pornography is degrading to women and to the men that look at it.
The degrading treatment that the prisoners receive in jail.
Degree.
Degree.
Preheat the oven to 375 degrees.
The temperature dropped to 5 degrees centigrade.
Then the cylinder is rotated 180 degrees.
1960s Britain was characterized by a greater degree of freedom than before.
Newspapers vary in the degree to which they emphasize propaganda rather than information. Newspapers vary in the degree to which they emphasize propaganda rather than information.
To a degree, it is possible to educate oneself. We're all willing to support him to some degree.
A degree in economics. Applicants must have a degree in engineering. An honours degree.
By degrees, he forced himself into a sitting position.
Dehumanize.
Dehumanize.
War dehumanizes people.
Dehydrate.
Dehydrate.
The substance is dehydrated and stored as powder.
Alcohol dehydrates the body.
De-ice.
De-ice.
Deify.
Deify.
Deign.
Deign.
Travis called after her, but she didn't deign to answer.
Deism.
Deism.
Deity.
Deity.
The deities of ancient Greece.
Déjà vu.
Déjà vu.
A strange sense of déjà vu.
Dejected.
Dejected.
The unemployed stood at street corners, dejected.
De jure.
De jure.